Hey, what's going on guys? Nate here, and today I'll be going over the best settings to use when playing Minecraft with a controller. So looking at your settings, the first one is sensitivity, and this is one that's more personal preference, meaning that you should use what you're most comfortable with. For me, I like having it on 100, but maybe you'll like something a little lower, but as I stated, personal preference, use what you like the most. And out of these next options, the only one I'd recommend turning on is hiding your controller hints, and if I turn it off, you'll see in the bottom left it shows the hints about what button to use for getting into your inventory. And I don't like using that because I already know my controls, but if you don't, maybe you should keep your hints there. But anyways, moving on to the controls section, the first one is your jump button. I can't recommend enough that you should use your right stick as your jump button, and that's because when jumping in Minecraft, if you use your right stick, you'll be able to look around while jumping, which kind of emulates if you're using a mouse and keyboard, whereas if you have it as your A button, which is kind of the standard one that Minecraft Auto recommends, you'll have to move your thumb in between your right stick and your A button, meaning that it really hinders your movement ability since you'll be losing your momentum when moving your thumb in between. Moving on, the next one is your drop item button, and this is going to be one of your D-pad options. I have it as down, but it can really be any of them. And next is your attack/place item buttons, and these are going to be your triggers on your controller. You can also use your bumpers for these actually. I used to do it. However, I just recently switched back because my right bumper is broken. But ultimately, I would say both were equally nice, and it's more of just a personal preference of which you prefer. Next is your crafting/inventory buttons, and these ultimately lead you to like the exact same screens, so really only one of them is the one you're going to be using. I just have them as my X and B buttons. And next is your cycle buttons, and these are going to be the opposite of what you choose for your attack/use item buttons. So if you use your triggers for those, you'll have your cycles as your bumpers and vice versa. Next is your toggle perspective, and I have it as my Y because it's open on my button list. And then the next is your crouch button, and I have mine as my A button. And this is because, as mentioned previously, with the jumping, you want as little movement with your thumb as possible. And by having it as your A button, you're really able to minimize the movements of your thumb. Next is your sprint button, and you'll want to keep that as your left stick. And then the rest of the controls are pretty minimal. They're just options that you'll want on your D-pad. And finally, the last one is your FOV. And similar to sensitivity, this is one that's more personal preference. Myself and a lot of others like to use it at the 90 range, but you can really place it at anything that you want and at whatever feels most comfortable to you. Anyways guys, that's it for the controls section, and I really feel these are the best settings to use when you don't have a fancy controller. And before I got mine with paddles, this is what I used and found great success with it. But anyways, if you enjoyed and found this video useful, I'd greatly appreciate a like and subscribe, as it would mean the world to me. But anyways, that's it from me, and hope to see you guys next time. Peace.